Ladies and gentlemen, there is something profoundly courageous about a woman who walks alone, not just in the physical sense, but in her soul, her choices, and her unwavering belief in her own journey. She is not defiant for the sake of rebellion. She is brave because her life demands it. Today, I want to honor the solitary path that so many women walk with strength, vulnerability, and purpose. It's not easy, is it? To choose your path, knowing the road ahead will be lonely at times, misunderstood often, and perhaps even doubted by others. Yet the woman who walks alone knows one truth above all: her worth is not contingent on approval, and her purpose is not validated by the crowd. Walking alone is not merely a physical act, it's an emotional and spiritual journey that requires immense courage. When you choose to walk alone, whether it's stepping away from toxic relationships, pursuing a dream that others don't understand, or simply carving out time to be with yourself, you embark on the most profound act of self-discovery. In solitude, there's no one to applaud your victories or console your failures. There's no one to define you, label you, or box you in. It's just you stripped of pretense and performance. And that can be deeply uncomfortable because for many of us, we've spent so much of our lives being who others expect us to be. But the beauty of walking alone is that it removes the noise. It's in the quiet of solitude that the voice you've drowned out for years begins to whisper truths you've avoided. At first, these truths may be unsettling. You may realize that some of the things you've chased, the approval of others, the accumulation of material success, the need to belong, aren't what you truly desire. You may see parts of yourself that you've hidden, even from yourself, your fears, your insecurities, and your deepest regrets. But here's the thing: growth doesn't happen in the comfort zone. It happens in these raw, honest moments of self-reflection. Walking alone allows you to ask the hard questions: who am I when no one is watching? What do I truly value? What kind of life do I want to live? And these questions aren't meant to have immediate answers. They're meant to guide you, to challenge you, and to help you peel back the layers of your identity. The woman who walks alone learns to embrace her imperfections because she understands that they are part of her story. She no longer seeks to mold herself into what others want her to be. Instead, she becomes intentional about shaping her life according to her own values, passions, and purpose. In the solitude of walking alone, you also discover your strengths. You realize that you can solve problems without leaning on others, make decisions without external validation, and find joy in your own company. You develop a resilience that no one can take from you. And perhaps most importantly, you learn to trust yourself. Trusting yourself is a superpower. It means knowing that no matter what life throws at you, you have the capacity to navigate it. It means believing that your instincts, your wisdom, and your experiences are enough to guide you. Walking alone is what builds this trust because it forces you to rely on the only person who will always be with you, yourself. But this journey isn't just about introspection, it's also about liberation. When you walk alone, you are free to dream your own dreams, set your own goals, and pursue a life that feels meaningful to you. You're no longer bound by the expectations of others, and that freedom is transformative. Walking alone teaches you who you are not who the world says you should be, not who your past tried to make you, but the woman you were always meant to become. And once you truly know yourself, you carry that knowledge into every interaction, every decision, and every step of your journey. So embrace the walk. It may feel lonely at times, but it's in that loneliness that you'll find your greatest ally, you. Resilience is not something you're born with, it's something you build. And solitude is one of the most powerful teachers of resilience. When you walk alone, whether by choice or by circumstance, you are given the opportunity to face life's challenges head-on. There are no shortcuts, no easy answers, and no one to shoulder the burden for you. It's just you and the journey ahead. This process, though often difficult, is what strengthens the core of who you are. In solitude, you learn to face your fears. When you're alone, there's no distraction to shield you from the doubts and insecurities that creep in. Fear whispers, what if you're not enough, or what if you fail? But in that quiet space, you also discover your courage. You learn that fear doesn't have to be the loudest voice. Each time you take a step forward despite being afraid, you become stronger. Resilience is built not by avoiding fear, but by walking through it. Solitude also forces you to confront obstacles with creativity and determination. Without a crowd to turn to for advice or validation, you must rely on your own resourcefulness. You find solutions you didn't know you were capable of, and in doing so, you begin to trust your own ability to navigate the world. Every challenge overcome in solitude becomes a brick in the foundation of your resilience. Let's not sugarcoat it. Being alone in the face of adversity is hard. There will be moments when you feel the weight of the world pressing down on you. There will be times when you want to give up because the climb feels too steep and the path too long. But it's in these moments that resilience is forged. It's in the moments when you dig deep, muster every ounce of strength, and take one more step forward, even when it feels impossible. Solitude also teaches you the importance of emotional endurance. Life is unpredictable and setbacks are inevitable. When you walk alone, you don't have the luxury of constant external reassurance. Instead, you learn to soothe yourself, to process your emotions, and to keep going even when the winds of life feel against you. This emotional endurance becomes a wellspring of strength, allowing you to face life's uncertainties with grace and grit. Furthermore, resilience isn't just about surviving difficulties, it's about growing from them. Solitude provides the space to reflect on your experiences, to learn from your mistakes, and to emerge wiser and more grounded. Each hardship faced alone becomes a teacher, imparting lessons that no book or mentor can provide. The beauty of solitude is that it allows you to realize how capable you truly are. When you navigate life's storms alone, you come to understand that you don't need anyone else to save you. You have the power within yourself to rise. And this realization is transformative. It changes the way you see yourself in the world. It gives you a quiet confidence that no external validation can replicate. And here's the most powerful part: the resilience you build in solitude doesn't just serve you in the moment. It becomes a lifelong asset. Once you've faced hardship alone, you carry the knowledge that you can handle whatever comes next. You've been through the fire and come out stronger, and no one can take that strength from you. In a world that often celebrates loud, outward displays of strength, solitude teaches you the value of quiet resilience. It's the kind of strength that doesn't need to prove itself, the kind of strength that sustains you through life's storms. So don't fear solitude. Embrace it as a crucible for resilience. Let it refine you, strengthen you, and prepare you for the journey ahead. Because when you walk alone, you don't just survive, you thrive. And that is the essence of true resilience. Loneliness is a feeling many of us dread. We equate it with emptiness, sadness, and isolation. But if we take a closer look, we realize that loneliness is not inherently the enemy. It is simply a signal, a nudge from our hearts telling us that we crave connection, either with others or with ourselves. What truly harms us isn't the feeling of loneliness, but the act of self-abandonment, the moments when we betray our own needs, values, and truths to escape that discomfort. Self-abandonment often happens quietly, without us even realizing it. It's in the times we stay in relationships that diminish us, just so we don't have to face being alone. It's in the way we distract ourselves with endless noise, social media, work, or superficial interactions because silence feels too vulnerable. It's in the times we dismiss our dreams, downplay our worth, or say yes when our souls are screaming no all because we fear rejection or judgment. But here's the truth: loneliness can be a gift if we let it be. It is an invitation to turn inward, to reconnect with ourselves, and to heal the parts of us that we've ignored. Loneliness is not a void to be filled with distractions or the approval of others. It is a space to sit with yourself and ask, what do I truly need? Who am I becoming? Am I living in alignment with my values? When we stop fearing loneliness and start seeing it as an opportunity for self-discovery, we take a step toward wholeness. We begin to realize that the achy we feel isn't from being alone, it's from being disconnected from ourselves. And when we abandon ourselves, no amount of external connection can fill the void. Self-abandonment creates a cycle. The more we neglect our needs, the more lonely we feel, and the more we try to escape that loneliness by compromising who we are. This cycle only ends when we choose to stand with ourselves, even in the quietest, most uncomfortable moments. Standing with yourself means honoring your feelings, even the messy ones. It means allowing loneliness to be what it is without rushing to fix it or numb it. It's saying, I may feel lonely right now, but I will not abandon myself to escape this feeling. This act of self-compassion is powerful because it transforms loneliness from something to fear into something to embrace. When you stop abandoning yourself, you begin to realize that being alone doesn't mean being lonely. You learn to find joy in your own company. You rediscover hobbies, passions, and dreams that had been buried under the weight of other people's expectations. You start to see solitude as a sacred space where you can reflect, recharge, and realign with your purpose. Most importantly, when you stop abandoning yourself, you create a foundation of self-respect and self-love. This foundation changes the way you show up in the world. You no longer settle for relationships that don't honor your worth because you've already committed to honoring it yourself. You no longer chase validation because you've learned to validate your own experiences. Here's the paradox: when you stop fearing loneliness and start connecting with yourself, you actually attract deeper and more meaningful connections with others. Why? Because you're no longer seeking connection from a place of lack or desperation. Instead, you're approaching relationships from a place of wholeness. And when you are whole, you invite others to be whole with you. Loneliness is not the enemy, it is a teacher. It is a mirror reflecting back the parts of ourselves that need attention, care, and love. But the moment we abandon ourselves, we close the door to that learning and healing. So the next time you feel lonely, pause, breathe. Instead of running from the discomfort, sit with it. Ask yourself, what am I truly feeling? What is this moment asking of me? And then choose to stay. Stay with yourself in the silence. Stay with yourself in the uncertainty. Stay with yourself in the discomfort. Because the greatest act of courage is not avoiding loneliness, it's choosing never to abandon yourself again. Choosing the path less traveled is not about rebellion or defiance, it's about listening to the quiet voice within you that calls you toward authenticity. It's about honoring your unique journey, even when it doesn't align with societal expectations, popular trends, or the comfort zones of others. This choice, though often lonely, is deeply sacred because it reflects your willingness to prioritize what feels true over what feels easy. The path less traveled is not marked by the footsteps of many. It lacks the reassurance of well-trodden trails, the signposts of certainty, and the validation of a crowd. Instead, it requires you to become your own guide, navigating the twists and turns with nothing but your intuition, courage, and faith as your compass. This is not a path for those who seek guarantees or shortcuts. It is a path for those who are willing to risk, to explore, and to trust in the process of becoming. Taking this path often means stepping away from what is familiar. It might mean leaving behind relationships that no longer serve you, careers that don't align with your values, or environments that stifle your growth. It might mean saying no to opportunities that look good on the surface but don't resonate with your deeper purpose. The path less traveled asks you to release what is comfortable in exchange for what is meaningful. There is a weight to this decision, a heaviness that comes with breaking away from the expectations of others. People may not understand your choices. They may question, criticize, or even ridicule you. They may project their own fears onto your journey, suggesting that you are lost or misguided. But the truth is, their discomfort has nothing to do with you. It is simply a reflection of their own unwillingness to step off the beaten path. Walking the path less traveled also requires a willingness to embrace uncertainty. There are no maps for this journey, no clear instructions for what lies ahead. This lack of predictability can feel overwhelming, even paralyzing. But within that uncertainty lies the magic of possibility. The unknown becomes a canvas upon which you can paint your dreams, your ideas, and your truest self. On this path, you are forced to confront yourself in ways you never would have on a more conventional road. You will face doubts, insecurities, and fears that demand your attention. You will encounter moments of failure that challenge your resilience and moments of solitude that test your commitment. But these challenges are not obstacles, they are teachers. Each one provides you with the opportunity to grow, to adapt, and to rise stronger than before. The path less traveled also invites you to redefine success. On this journey, success is no longer measured by external markers like wealth, fame, or recognition. Instead, it becomes a deeply personal experience. Success might look like waking up each day feeling aligned with your purpose. It might look like pursuing a passion that lights you up, regardless of how others perceive it. It might look like choosing peace over chaos, authenticity over approval, or love over fear. This sacred choice comes with immense responsibility. On the path less traveled, you are accountable for every step you take. You cannot blame others for your missteps or rely on others to carry you forward. You must take ownership of your journey, knowing that every decision, every action, and every moment is a reflection of your commitment to yourself. And while this path can feel isolating at times, it is never truly empty. Along the way, you will encounter kindred spirits, others who have dared to forge their own way. These individuals may not walk beside you for the entire journey, but their presence will remind you that you are not alone in your courage. They will inspire you with their stories and strengthen you with their support. What makes the path less traveled sacred is that it is yours alone. No one else can walk it for you, and no one else can define its meaning. Authenticity is the bridge that brings us closer to others in a way that no pretense ever can. At our core, we all yearn for connection, for someone to see us, understand us, and accept us for who we truly are. Yet, so often, we hide behind masks, afraid that if we reveal our true selves, we'll be judged, rejected, or misunderstood. But the paradox of connection is this: the more we hide, the more distant we become. True connection isn't found in perfection, it's found in vulnerability and authenticity. When you show up as your authentic self, you give others permission to do the same. There's an unspoken power in being real. It cuts through the superficial layers of small talk and curated personas, creating a space where genuine understanding and empathy can thrive. People are drawn to those who are unapologetically themselves, because authenticity is a rare and liberating force in a world full of facades. But authenticity requires courage. It means being willing to admit when you're struggling, to own your flaws, and to share your truth, even when it feels uncomfortable. It's not about oversharing or seeking validation, but about embracing who you are without apology. When you're authentic, you stand in your truth, and that truth has the power to resonate deeply with others. Authenticity also breaks down barriers. It eliminates the pressure to compete, compare, or impress. Instead of trying to fit into someone else's mold, you create relationships based on mutual respect and understanding. This allows for deeper, more meaningful connections that aren't based on what you do, what you have, or how you appear, but on the essence of who you are. When you connect through authenticity, you build trust. People can sense when you're being genuine. And that honesty fosters a sense of safety and reliability. Trust becomes the foundation of your relationships, allowing them to withstand challenges and grow stronger over time. Without authenticity, connections often feel fragile, as if they might shatter under the weight of unspoken truths or hidden insecurities. Connection through authenticity also means celebrating your uniqueness while honoring the uniqueness of others. It's about recognizing that everyone has a story, and those stories are what make us human. By sharing your experiences, your dreams, and even your fears, you create a space for others to do the same. This mutual sharing fosters a sense of belonging, reminding you that while your journey is your own, you are never truly alone. In a world that often values image over substance, choosing authenticity can feel risky. There's a vulnerability in being real and exposing the parts of yourself that you fear might not be accepted. But it's in that vulnerability that connection is born. The cracks and imperfections in your story are what make it relatable, what allow others to see themselves in you. Authenticity also deepens your relationship with yourself. When you strip away the need to perform or conform, you begin to live in alignment with your values and desires. This self-acceptance radiates outward, making your connections with others more genuine and fulfilling. People are drawn not to the idea of who you think you should be, but to the reality of who you are. Moreover, authentic connection is not about quantity but quality. It's not about having countless acquaintances, but about cultivating relationships where you can truly be yourself. These connections might be fewer, but they are far richer, offering a sense of understanding and support that superficial relationships can never provide. Authenticity also challenges us to redefine connection. It's not about seeking approval or fitting in, it's about finding spaces where you can thrive as your whole self. It's about building relationships that honor your truth and reflect your worth. Connection is not a performance, but a partnership, one that thrives on honesty, vulnerability, and trust. Walking alone is not a weakness, it is a profound act of strength and self-respect. It is an opportunity to embrace solitude, deepen resilience, and uncover your true essence. Along this path, you come to realize that loneliness is not your adversary, self-abandonment is. By staying true to yourself, even in the face of isolation, you break free from the constraints of fear and conformity. The journey of walking alone also illuminates the sacredness of forging your own path, a path defined not by the expectations of others, but by your own values, purpose, and dreams. In this process, you discover the transformative power of authenticity, both in your relationship with yourself and in your connections with others. This path may not always be easy, but it is always worth it. It leads to clarity, growth, and a deeper understanding of who you are. It teaches you that your worth is not determined by external validation, but by the courage you show in honoring your truth. So to walk alone is not to be lost, it is to be found. It is to step boldly into the fullness of your potential, embracing the beauty of the journey and the strength within you to see it through.